Hello students, welcome back to the class. Before starting our today's topic, let us have a quick recap of our previous class. In the previous class, we learned about different aspects of reproductive health and different strategies and measures taken by governmental and non-governmental agencies of our country to overcome the problem of population explosion and why the need of population stabilization is required in a developing country like us. And then we discussed about sexually transmitted diseases and their causal agents and causal organisms and the signs and symptoms of it. Then we had discussed that what can be the drastic or the serious threat of some STDs which are incurable, like genital herpes, HIV, hepatitis B. Now, in today's class, we are going to learn about the different methods of birth control. Different methods of birth control. Birth control is also called as contraception. When the successful fertilization results in pregnancy, then it is called as conception, right? So contraception is the contradictory of conception. So that is birth control. There are few features of ideal contraceptive. That is, it should be user friendly. The user who is going to apply those contraceptive methods should be comfortable in applying those methods. Effective with no or least side effects. It should be effective in contraception, that is preventing pregnancy, and it should have very less side effects on the individual user. It should be easily available and it should not be interfering with the sexual drive. The contraceptive methods are of different types. We are going to learn them one by one in detail. There are natural methods, chemical or hormonal methods, mechanical and barrier methods, and these three methods are the temporary methods for birth control. And the last one is surgical method, which is the permanent effective method for birth control. The reason is it is permanent as it is irreversible. The situation cannot be reversed back after undergoing the surgery of the birth control system, right? But these three, natural, chemical and mechanical, can be reversible. When the couple wants to plan for a family, plan for the baby, they can stop using these contraceptive methods, which are the temporary methods, and they can go for conception. But surgical method is the permanent contraception method. Under natural contraceptive methods, we are going to study abstinence, rhythm method, coitus interruptus or withdrawal method, and the last one, LAM, that is lactational amenorrhea method. In chemical or hormonal method, we are going to learn oral contraceptives, that is combined pills, injection and implants, and emergency pills. In mechanical or barrier method, we are going to learn about intrauterine devices, rubber or latex sheath, the condoms, diaphragms, cervical caps and walls, spermicidal creams. And in surgical methods, we are going to learn tubectomy, which is carried out in female, and vasectomy, which is carried out in male. So we'll start. First, the natural methods. Abstinence means having a self-control, that is no sexual intercourse. This is the most reliable method, as if there won't be any sexual intercourse, there won't be any meeting of sperm, chances of meeting of sperm and ovum, and there won't be any risk of pregnancy or conception. The next one is rhythm method. This is the periodic abstinence or no sexual intercourse during the fertile window. The fertile window, we had learned about the phases of menstrual cycle, in that the ovulatory phase, in which the ovum is released and it is available for 24 hours for fertilization. So that fertile window, that ovulation period, 14th to 17th day of the menstrual cycle, can be avoided for sexual intercourse, and in this way pregnancy can be avoided, as there won't be any fertilization after the fertile window is over for the female. The next one is coitus interruptus. Coitus means sexual intercourse, interruptus means interruption, or it is also commonly called as withdrawal method. That is, withdrawal of the male genital organ, that is penis, from the vagina during ejaculation. So in ejaculation, what is happening? The transfer of semen occurs from the male genital organ to the female reproductive tract. So in that time, if it is stopped, if it is withdrawn, then there won't be any deposition of semen inside the female reproductive tract. But this is not so reliable. The last one is lactational amenorrhea method. This is very important. It is asked many times in board exam also. Lactation, we have learned what is lactation. That is the breastfeeding period, the initial days of the motherhood after parturition. In this period, the newborn baby is fed on the colostrum and also the coming months. During lactation, after parturition, there is no occurrence of menstrual cycle. So during this lactation period of around 3 to 4 months after parturition, there won't be any occurrence of menstrual cycle, and this thing is called as, or this phenomenon is called as amenorrhea, absence of menstrual cycle. So if there won't be any menstrual cycle, that means there is no ovulation occurring. That is why there is no shedding of the endometrium. That is why if there is no ovulation, there is no chance of fertilization of the ovum by sperm. So this is considered as the safest or reliable time period or the method for birth control. The next method of birth control is chemical or hormonal method. In this, we are going to learn about the 3 types of chemical or hormonal methods. The first one is OC, that is oral contraceptive. Oral means which is taken up orally through the mouth. Contraceptive pills. These are the medicines which are taken for avoiding or preventing the pregnancy. The oral uptake of progesterone and estrogen combinations in the form of combined pills taken for the period of 21 days, starting within 5 days of menstrual cycle. It is also called as combined pills. Why? Because both the female hormone is present in some proportions and it is taken for 21 days, starting from the 0 to 5 days of the menstrual cycle, that depends, and after gap of 7 days it is repeated again once the menses are stopped. As it is a combined pill of both the hormones, so it is going to control a lot of activities in the ovary, like they inhibit ovulation, they do not allow the normal ovulation to occur, and even if ovulation occurs, there won't be any implantation occurring. They make the internal environment of the uterus as such that there won't, even if in any case fertilization has taken place, then also implantation will not occur. And it also alters the quality of cervical mucus to prevent sperm entry. It makes the cervical mucus, which is a very common natural phenomenon for cleansing up the uterine cavity. I had told you in lesson number 3 also. So this mucus becomes thickened, and this thick mucus, acidic mucus, is spermicidal. It is preventing the sperm entry inside the cervix. Saheli, an oral contraceptive for females, contain a non-steroidal preparation of these two hormones, and it was developed by scientists at Central Drug Research Institute CDRI at Lucknow. The oral contraceptive pills are having high contraceptive values with less side effects, but their reliability depends on the proper dosage, as it has to be taken for the period of 21 days continuously, and then by the end of the last pill there has to be a gap of few days so that the regular menses will occur, and after again it has to be resumed. So this proper cycle of the dosage has to be maintained. The next one is injections and implants. The same hormonal compositions, the combinations, can be taken as injectables or implants and patches under the skin. They will be working exactly like the oral contraceptive pills, but they are more effective as they are getting inside the body's system directly under the skin. Emergency pills, these are taken within 72 hours of unprotected sexual intercourse, and if there is a chance of getting conception or having a possibility of pregnancy, in that situation this pill can be taken within 72 hours of the unprotected sexual intercourse to avoid pregnancy. The next method is mechanical or barrier method. The first type of mechanical method is use of thin rubber latex barriers, which are called as condoms, and this is used to cover the tip of the penis in male to prevent deposition of ejaculated semen into the vagina of female. This is considered as a reliable method as it is forming a physical barrier between sperm and ovum. Diaphragm, cervical caps, femidome and valves. These are the Rubbermaid barriers which are inserted into female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during coitus. They prevent the entry of sperms through cervix, as they are again forming a physical barrier between, in the opening of the cervix, so they are not allowing the entry of sperm inside the cervix. This is also very much reliable. Spermicidal creams, as we know, like herbicide, pesticides. So spermicides are those which kill the sperms. So these are used along with these other barrier methods to increase the contraceptive efficiency by killing or destroying the sperms and semen. Intrauterine devices. The IUDs are inserted by doctors in the uterus through vagina. This is non-surgical method. There are three types. Non-medicated IUDs, which are having the principle of working as phagocytosis of sperms in uterus. They kill the sperms. For example, Lippes loop. The second one is copper releasing IUDs. These IUDs, the T-shaped IUDs, they release copper ions, and these copper ions reduce or suppress the sperm motility and fertilization capacity of the sperms. As we had studied in lesson number 3, capacitation starts or initiates inside the female reproductive tract. So once it enters the cervix, the capacitation of the sperm cell starts. But the IUDs, which are copper releasing IUDs, they reduce this capacitation of sperms. Example, copper T, CUT, copper 7 and multiload 375. The third type is hormone releasing IUDs. They make uterus unsuitable for implantation and the cervix becomes hostile to sperm. It is not allowing the sperm to move upwards to the junction for fertilization. Example, Progestasert and LNG20. These mechanical or barrier methods, these are considered as very much reliable or efficient methods for birth control. The next one is surgical method, which is also called as sterilization, and this is the permanent method of birth control, as the individual undergoes surgery for the birth control system or the family planning, and this cannot be reversed back. Like in other methods of birth control, the surgical methods, the vasectomy and tubectomy, cannot be reversed. Now let us understand. Vasectomy comes from the word vas, that is vas deferens. Vas deferens, a small part of the vas deferens is removed and then tied up through a small incision on the scrotum. It blocks the passage of sperm and it is irreversible and highly efficient. You can see that in diagram here. The incision is done here and then it is tied back and a knot formation is done in E. The same thing we can see in tubectomy, only the difference is here in male a small part of vas deferens is cut and tied back, and in tubectomy in female the fallopian tube, a small part of fallopian tube is cut and tied up through the small incision in the abdomen through vagina. It blocks the passage of ovum and it is also irreversible and highly efficient. So here you can see fallopian tube is cut into small segments somewhere and then it is cut and tied, forming a loop, and it is blocked by using a plastic band, and it is sealed using cautery, and the blockage is done by clipping. So this is considered as the most efficient surgical birth control method, which is also called as sterilization. Medical termination of pregnancy. In short, it is called as MTP. It is defined as intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term. This was legalized by Government of India under MTP Act in 1971 under very strict rules and regulations to avoid its misuse. It is very much helpful for those who cannot carry the full term pregnancy due to some medical reasons which we are going to discuss, and they have to approach for approval, and if they are legally approved then they can undergo termination of pregnancy under medical supervision under the medical practitioners. MTP can be approached for approval in the following situations: if pregnancy is harmful or fatal to either mother or fetus or both. Sometimes the pregnancy is not progressing naturally or normally. In that situation, it is creating a threat to either the fetus or the mother or both, and they may have critical conditions during the pregnancy, and one of them or both of them can even die. So in that situation, the pregnancy can be terminated under MTP. The second situation is if the developing fetus is showing some symptoms of genetic disorders. As ultrasound is done in different months, in that course they get to know about the development of the fetus. The doctors, they get to know about the development of the fetus, and in that situation they observe how the growth is progressing weekly. We had seen that in the last video of lesson number 3, right? So they get to know about the genetical abnormalities or any chromosomal aberrations. Then in that case also the pregnancy can be terminated. The third situation is in case of rapes. The rape victim, if gets pregnant and wants to terminate the baby as because of the age and it is unwillingness of the victim, then the victim can approach for MTP. Mental incapability of the mother. If the mother is incapable mentally, not financially, mentally, then in that situation also the termination of the pregnancy can be approached medically. MTP is safe during first trimester, that is up to 12 weeks of pregnancy, but now some amendments have been done in MTP Act and it can also be considered till 20 weeks of pregnancy, but that has to be monitored for severe complications in that period of pregnancy. It is carried under strict supervision of medical practitioners with legal approval. Amniocentesis. This is again a very important topic from this chapter. It is asked for 3 marks. I will tell you after explaining the topic how the question is framed. It is a procedure in which the amniotic fluid is removed from the uterus for testing or treatment. Amniotic fluid is the fluid that surrounds and protects the baby during pregnancy, and it is inside that amniotic sac. And we had learned about this during parturition. This sac bursts open and the fluid exerts pressure on the cervix for dilation. This fluid contains fetal cells and various proteins. So if the fetal cells are present in that, so what can be done? The DNA karyotyping, you just follow the diagram given here, the flow chart given here. The fetus is around 14 to 16 weeks. In that time, the amniotic fluid is taken up through a needle, through a syringe, and that withdrawn amniotic fluid is sent for testing. It is centrifuged. Centrifugation is a method by which we are separating the components of the liquid or any solution on the basis of the rotational system of the equipment. Then the biochemical tests are done for the fetal cells. How it is done? There will be DNA sequencing. The chromosomes will be sequenced. There are 23 pairs of the chromosomes, and the chromosomes will be sequenced here. You can see it is written karyotyping. It is called as DNA karyotype. And we know that out of 23 pairs, one pair is sex chromosome. So it can reveal the sex of the fetus. Now let us come to its application. Positive application: to check family history or previous child with a genetic disorder or chromosomal disorder. Like I told you, there will be the sequencing of chromosomes, and through the checking of these chromosome sequences, any disorder or any abnormality in the chromosome can be detected, which can lead to very severe disorders or complications after the birth of the baby. Risk of open neural tube defects. If the neural tube is not formed properly, so that again is going to create a very serious threat to the newborn baby. Risk of a sex-linked genetic disease. If there is any sex-linked genetic disease, this we will discuss in more detail in genetics unit. In that condition also, the pregnancy can be terminated under MTP. Now, what is the negative application of amniocentesis? The DNA karyotype reveals sex determination of the fetus. And in our country, if it is known that the growing baby inside the mother's womb is a girl, then they are planning for the abortion. Sometimes it is illegal abortion. The statutory ban on amniocentesis was required as this was leading to female feticide. That is killing of female fetus. Statutory ban in India. Amniocentesis had been banned in India in 1994 under the Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act. This was because amniocentesis could reveal the sex of the fetus. Since a girl child is not accepted in many parts of our country, the female fetus is aborted. To stop this, amniocentesis was banned in India, and that is why when you go to any pathology lab, you find there one caption would be written near the sonography or ultrasound rooms that sex determination is illegal, as the amniocentesis can also be approached only under serious genetic or any other defect in the fetus. That's it for today's class. Thank you.